Hi, welcome to ShootProof 101. We're going to be going over the basics of ShootProof today so that you can get your account up and running quickly. My name is Darby and I'm the Learning Content Manager here at ShootProof, and it's my job to make sure that you have all the tools you need to use ShootProof successfully. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Please close any extra browser tabs you don't need open, pause any streaming services, anything that might be eating into your bandwidth. This is a pre-recorded webinar, but I am live in the chat, so please be asking questions as we go along. You'll receive an email with a recording of this webinar later on today, so don't worry if you missed anything or if you have to drop early. But try and stick around to the end to receive a surprise offer. To get started, I just want to go over what ShootProof is since you're just getting started and you might not know all that ShootProof has to offer. At our core, we have client photo galleries with commission-free sales and the option to set up digital download through the gallery. Print sales through professional partner labs or your lab of choice through self-fulfillment. Digital invoices and contracts with digital signatures. Branded mobile apps. And an add-on booking feature with questionnaires. We're not going to be covering those things today, though. We're just going to be going over the basics. Today we're going to talk about how to upload galleries through our two main uploading methods, customizing your branding and your gallery settings. Then for those of you who want to sell through your galleries, we are going to set up a price sheet and enable payment processing so that your clients can pay online. Since this is a recording, it might seem like I'm going a little fast, but please remember to ask questions in the chat and that you will receive this recording later on today. Let's get started. Let's get started with uploading. Your files need to be JPEGs that are under 50 megabytes each. We recommend that they be 3000 pixels on the longest edge, and they need to be under 100 megapixels. Regardless of whether you're going to have these printed or not, they do need to be uploaded in the sRGB color space. For best uploading experience, your internet upload speed should be over 10 megabytes per second. If you're not familiar with your upload speed, you can always go to speedtest.net to check it. We have two main options for uploading photos to ShootProof. The first one is our web uploader, which really just means uploading via the web browser. The second is our desktop uploader tool, which is just a really basic tool that you download onto your desktop that you can then upload photos through. The nice thing about that is that you can be uploading photos in there, but you can still be doing, whatever you need to be doing in your ShootProof account. We're going to take a look at both of those, though, in my demo account. So over here, we're in the All Galleries tab. For those of you who are just getting started who haven't uploaded a gallery yet, this page will look a little different. You'll want to go over here and click New Gallery. You'll give your gallery a name, click Create Gallery. But we do have these already set up, so we'll click into this web uploader one. So you can see that this is empty. And here I have the option up here to upload photos as well as this modal here. I can upload a folder of images, or I can go and select multiple images here, which is what we're going to do. So that we have just kind of a quick one, we're going to just upload a few. Here you have these options for uploading. One of them is to add a watermark. This is a ShootProof watermark. You set this up in your account by going to Galleries and then Watermarks. So this will show on the images in your galleries, but if you send these off to be printed or anything, that watermark will be removed. So we're going to leave it with no watermark, and then you have duplicate handling options here. We'll click Start Upload. We have our little progress bar down here, and we'll just wait a second for our images to appear. Okay, now we have our images, they're processing, and you'll start to see the thumbnails will appear in a second. So now that we have some images in here, the one thing we always want to do is set a cover photo. So you can set the cover photo by clicking this plus sign and uploading one directly, or now that we have images in this gallery, I can just drag and drop that one over here. And you'll set the focal image or focal point. This is important because this is going to be the first image that your client sees as they enter their gallery. So you always want to make sure you are setting a cover photo. Now we'll click Save. So our desktop uploader tool you can download by going to this Apps for Uploading button. We have it for both Mac and for Windows. I do already have it on my computer though, so I am just going to click into it. You'll see it looks pretty similar to how your web uploader looks. You have the option to drag photos here. You can upload a folder or you can upload a file. The desktop uploader is really good for those of you who might be uploading larger galleries or wanting to upload several galleries at once. It works really well with your internet speed, so if there's lags in your internet, it is going to pause until it picks back up again. And then for those of you who might be uploading, lots of galleries at once, it is really nice because you can queue galleries. So you can go ahead and set everything up, set it and forget it, and those will upload. And then also you can be in your ShootProof account still doing things since the desktop uploader is separate. So this one, we're going to upload a folder for this because I want to talk about folder structure within ShootProof. So with your galleries, you have a gallery, but you also have the option to add subfolders within your gallery, which are called albums. So if you, again, upload big galleries that maybe you want to add some organization to, you might want to consider setting up albums in those galleries. So I'm going to click Upload Folder though. I'm going to show you a little example of how you can set up those albums as you're uploading. This Andrew's Wedding one has subfolders already within it. And then within those subfolders, we do have images already. So you can click this folder and click Upload. When you're uploading, you'll have the option, if you have multiple brands, you can pick which brand you're uploading into. If you have a gallery already made, which we do, we can add it in there. So it's going to go into our desktop uploader one. You can also add a new gallery here. You have your watermark options again, and then your skip duplicate files. So we're going to go ahead and click Start Upload. We can see the progress on all of our uploads here. This is that queue that I was talking about. So if you wanted to go ahead and queue other galleries for upload, you could click that here. But you'll see that our gallery, or all of our images already have uploaded. So we're going to go back to our account and click into that gallery. So we'll click into the desktop uploader. We can see all of our photos that have uploaded here. And then down here, you'll see these albums. So we have the album names are the same as those subfolder names that were in that folder that we uploaded. And you'll see that the images have already been uploaded into all of them. So it just is a nice way to keep your photos organized. If you already have all of your photos organized on your desktop, it's going to copy that structure and build it in there for you. You can also upload this way through the web uploader by clicking that upload folder button. So really quick, for our albums, we are going to click Manage Albums and we're going to set cover photos for each of them, which we can do by the our little overflow button here, set as album cover. Again, we'll set the focal point. We're not going to do it for each of them because we don't need to right now. We will set this one as our cover photo. And then before we move on, I just want to preview both of these galleries so that you can see what it is that your client is going to see. So for this web uploader gallery, we'll come up here and we'll click preview. So this is what I was talking about with setting your cover image. Now your client has this beautiful image when they're first coming to view their gallery, and they'll click this View Gallery button here. And in this one, we just have the 4 photos, and you'll see those right away. Now, in our desktop uploader gallery, it's going to look just a little bit different. So we'll click Preview. And again, we get our pretty cover image. We have a different intro page on this one, but we'll go over that one in a second. We'll click View Gallery. And you'll see here that instead of seeing all of the photos at once, we do have these albums set up, and I didn't go through and set cover images for each of them, but I think you get the point. So now instead of seeing all the images right as they come in, they can go into these different albums and see all of those images sorted into there. So now that we have our some images in our galleries, we are going to move on to going over our branding and our gallery settings. Now that we have some galleries uploaded to work with, we're going to talk about setting up our branding and our gallery settings. So consistent branding helps promote brand recognition and it makes your galleries look like you. So we want to go ahead and get that set up as soon as we can. To do that, we'll go into our account and we're going to go down here to this Studio tab to Themes. You'll start with a default theme that'll have your brand name there and just some default colors that you can make changes to. But you can also add a new theme by clicking New Theme. You can have as many themes as you want. You may want to have different themes for different genres or different types of year, whatever you would like. But we're going to go and look at this default theme that I have made some changes to already. I have already uploaded a logo for both the gallery and our contracts, invoices, and emails. So you want to make sure that you upload logos in both of those sections. In this gallery section is going to be the one that shows on any intro pages for your gallery, as well as your ShootProof portfolio website, which we are going to go over briefly in a minute. And then down here, these will be the logo that can show on your contracts, invoices, emails, etc. Over here we have our background. So light is a white background and dark is a black background. And you'll see that we have the preview updating in real time so you can see exactly how it's going to look in a gallery. We're going to go back to a light one though. Same with these colors that you can see the example showing over here. Let's change this color just a little bit so you can see. Now you can see exactly what it's going to look like in a gallery. It'll also warn you if the color is going to be kind of hard to see on your white or black background. And then down here we have all of these font options. And you can also view what any of this is going to look like on a mobile. We're going to go ahead and save. And then we're going to talk about our portfolio website, which is down here. This is a landing page that you get with your ShootProof account. It's totally up to you whether you use it or not. Up here, we'll set the theme. So what we just went over, you can choose from all of your themes in the drop down there. You can choose how the gallery display will happen, and you have the option to add a little intro text to the top of your homepage. Categories are kind of like just a way for you to organize your galleries on this homepage. So if you want to sort galleries by genre, if you do, wedding, engagement, portrait, whatever, you could add those as categories, and then you would sort galleries into those categories. You can choose how much brand information that you would like to show on this page. If you need to make any changes to your brand contact, you can do that there and it'll bring you right to those settings, but you can choose which one of these that you would like to show on that page. If you do have our booking add-on, you can have a booking page. Any public bookings will show there, so you can give the page a name, some options with the text. You can have an about page. You can have some information, so maybe you want to give a little history of your photography studio, or maybe show some pricing information, whatever you want. You also have the option to add an image down here. You can enable a contact page. This is a really basic contact page where they can leave their name, first name, last name, email, and a message to you. It's going to be sent to the email on your account. And then these are just some domain settings. When you sign up for ShootProof, it's going to automatically add your studio name if it's available. If somebody else already has it, it will add a digit to it here. So this is going to be your ShootProof domain. For those of you who have your own website, there's information here about setting up a custom subdomain with that website. But this is going to be your ShootProof domain. So mine is shootproofphotostudio.shootproof.com. That's going to be what shows in the URL. So if you're ever doing like a rebrand or anything, make sure to come and change that up here. So all of these have individual save buttons, so be sure that you're saving that information as you go along. And let's take a look at that portfolio page. So here's the logo that I set earlier. You can see these tabs that I was talking about. These are actually our categories that we set up. So when you click into them, any galleries that were created and sorted into them will be in there. I don't actually have any set up. Oh, here I do. So here's all the wedding galleries that we have set up in that category. Here's your about page with the image. And then also this is the brand information that we added. So your socials, your address, all of that. Here's that contact page. And then here is our available sessions right now. So it's totally up to you whether you use your ShootProof portfolio website, but I just always like to make sure that everybody knows that it's there and all that it can do. So now we're going to go over the settings for the gallery. This is going to be kind of a high-level overview because we do have a lot of settings and we also have an entire webinar that goes over this, but I just want you to be aware of some of the most important settings when you are getting started out and to show you how you can save those settings as a preset to be used going forward. So we're going to go and click into one of these existing galleries. The first thing I want to point out is your linked contact. So the linked contact is a person that you can give kind of special permissions to. So we already have one set up here that we can look at. You can allow them to contact you when they've selected their favorites. You can give them the ability to hide photos in a gallery as well as to label photos. Labeling is just a nice way to organize photos in addition to favoriting. So maybe, for example, you're working with your client to make an album and you want them to be able to tag the images that they want in the album. You could make them a label called albums. You can also give them a limit on how many images that they could label, and they can go in and apply that tag to those images. The other thing that you can do is you can give the linked contact their own downloading permissions, but that's going to be in the settings. So this is a good option for shoots where you have one main client that you're working with and you want them to be able to do certain things that other visitors to the gallery can't. But the bulk of our settings are going to be down here in this settings tab. So in this first tab, the general tab, we have some settings around the date. The shoot date is always going to default to the day that you uploaded it. You can change that. If you want the gallery to expire and no longer be accessible on a certain date, you can set that here. We have a couple other settings down here. This one, if you toggle on, will show file names in the gallery so that file name would show on top of the image. Access and privacy is the really important one that I want everybody to make sure that they go to. So first, within our access and privacy, we have the status. The status is really whether the gallery is viewable or not. So active galleries are viewable, people can go into them and see them. Inactive galleries are no longer viewable. So if a client goes to an inactive gallery, they'll see a message that says this gallery is no longer active and to contact the photographer. Now, gallery access is where the gallery is going to show. So public galleries are going to show on your ShootProof portfolio website. You don't have to have any galleries on there, like we mentioned. If you don't want anything to show on your ShootProof portfolio website, you want to make sure it is a private gallery. So private galleries don't show there, and you would need to give your client a direct link to visit that gallery. Now, regardless of the access, whether it's public or private, you can password protect the gallery. If you do, we recommend doing a strong password, nothing that has to do with the gallery name or the subject matter of the gallery, something that is difficult to figure out. And then last, we have this email requirement. This just is whether you want clients to enter their email as they enter the gallery. I recommend having this on because we are going to ask them for their email if they do any actions in the gallery anyway. So to favorite items, to add items to the cart, to download, they will need to enter that email address. So if you toggle this on for when they enter the gallery, then they will see already any favorites that they've done, any items in their shopping cart, all of that. By default, when you're starting out, you're not going to have any free digital rules on any of your galleries until you go in and create them. So you don't have to worry about things being downloadable. To create a free digital rule, though, we'll just click this button and you have some options. These are kind of around who can download. So if you want everybody who's visiting the gallery, if you want only people going to a specific album, or if you want the linked contact. We are just going to make a really quick and basic one, though. We do have these templates that you can start with. So let's do original size download all. And it won't look like it did a ton, but it did kind of set everything up. So the rule name is going to be what the client sees when they're going to download. Under who should be able to download, you can assign a PIN that people have to enter to download. We're going to leave it as all visitors that come to the gallery. The file size you can set here. The original would be the size that you uploaded. Social size is 900 on the longest edge, and a custom is that you can add that. We have it set for unlimited, but if you want to limit the number of downloads, you would click limited and you would just enter the number that you want there. When you do unlimited downloads, you do have the option to add a download all button in the gallery. You can apply watermarks to the downloaded files, and you can also do a print release. So again, we have a whole webinar going over free digitals and lots of information on that in our Help Center. The shopping cart is also off by default. When you're getting started out, you'll probably see this. If you haven't set up a price sheet yet, it's going to prompt you to do that here. Same for if you have not set up a payment gateway. We'll click Enable Shopping Cart. We can choose from the price sheets that we already have. And then we have lots of settings around kind of what your client is going to see when they are going into the shop or going into their gallery and shopping. The most important ones, though, that I always like to highlight are these delivery options, because this is who is going to get charged for the shipping. So if you do allow pickup only, your client will not be prompted to add an address to send the shipment to, and they will not pay the shipping, because the idea is that you're going to get that sent to your gallery or your studio, and so the client can pick it up. If you want your clients to have to pay for the shipping, you would want to do allow ship to client only. Then they'll be asked for their shipping address and they will pay for the shipping. The advanced tab is a lot of settings that have to do with if you utilize albums. So for any of you who are going to be using albums in your workflows, you'll want to make sure that you are looking at all of these. These categories, though, that I mentioned earlier are in here. So if you want to use categories on your portfolio website. Also, if you eventually decide you want to send email campaigns, this is where you would set those up. So in addition to our regular settings, we also have these branding settings. Some of these are going to look familiar because we did a little bit of this in our themes. So the intro page is that first page that your client sees when they open their gallery. You can click on all of these different ones here, and it's going to use the photo that you already have set as your camera image here, so you can see exactly what it is going to look like. We'll do this one. And then again, you have that option to view this on a mobile. Your typography and colors is going to be the themes that we created. So you can select a theme from the drop-down menu of when you've already created themes, but you can also go and set up a custom theme for this particular gallery. You can change the background, the colors, the font, all of that. In the layout tab here, you have the option to use a header image. These header images are going to be your cover photo up at the top here. It'll be the same for your album. It'll have the album cover photo. And then our direction is just kind of the orientation of the images. So if you want them more vertically or horizontally oriented, you can choose the image size that it shows. You can also choose the spacing between the images. You can have an intro message, so kind of a message that pops up right as your client enters their gallery. These are great for a lot of things. If you have instructions that you want to give everybody, or maybe you're running a sale that you want to tell everybody, so you can set that here. You also have the option to set a video, so maybe you made a little video for them introducing them to their gallery or with instructions. You can add a YouTube or Vimeo link for that, but we'll leave our text one here. And then we do have a marketing banner. You'll see the example of it up there. Another great way to convey information to your clients or to promote a sale, free shipping, and then add the code. You also can add a link within that. So maybe you have a blog post that you want them to see or somewhere else they want them to go. You can add that link there and you can set an expiration date. And then we also have screenshot protection options. So you can toggle it on for desktop as well as for mobile. For desktop, we have kind of a default do not screenshot message. So this happens when a client uses screenshot keys or navigates away from the page. So you can add the message that you want to show there, but we do have a default one already set up. On the mobile, what it does is it's going to blur half of the image. The client can long press it to see the blur alternate. So you have some settings or some options with that. So now that we've gone over all of the settings, if you have gone through all of these and you decide that these are the settings that you'd like going forward, you can click this Save as Preset button. And you'll give it a name and you'll click Create Preset. You can find your gallery presets over here in your All Galleries tab in the Presets section, where you can make changes to them going forward. Your presets are going to be what you apply as you upload the gallery. So any changes that you make to this isn't going to retroactively change your gallery settings. It would just be for going forward. So now we're going to talk about setting up a profitable price sheet. Regardless of whether you're selling prints, digitals, canvases, products, whatever, you need to set up a pricing structure that is profitable. So before you go to work on your price sheet, I recommend identifying all of your costs that are going to go into selling. So the cost of the product, of the shipping, payment processing, all of that, just so you know what you have to set your markup as so that you earn a healthy margin. Now, to set up your price sheets, we're going to go over here to our store tab and we're going to go down to price sheets. So you can see already, I do have several already in here that we're going to look at. But first I want to go to this which lab is right for me button. So for those of you who are just getting started out, who maybe haven't chosen a lab yet or aren't familiar, we do have this great comparison tool. So you can check the boxes next to the labs, click compare labs, and we give you a little bit of information, the location, where they ship to, what they have, all of that. So it's just a nice starting point. The available labs that you see when you're making a price sheet are based on where you're located, so what country you are in. But when you make a price sheet, you're going to start with this Create Price Sheet button, and we have these three options. This first one, you can see says recommended. It's our commonly sold items price sheets. So these are for each lab and for self-fulfilled, and what it is it shows it already lists the items that we see commonly sold for, again, that lab or through self-fulfillment. And there's a recommended markup price already on there. So these are, again, a great jumping off point because you can edit them, you can add and subtract to them, you know, if you don't like what's on there, you want to make changes, but it's a good starting point. You can also start with a completely blank price sheet, and then eventually when you have other price sheets, you can duplicate them. But we're going to go ahead and look at one that's been set up. So we have this price sheet here. First off, we're going to start in the store tab, and this is where you can add all the categories of items that you'd like to sell. So you can have, we already have in here a prints category, fine art prints, digitals, canvases, all of that. Since this is a lab fulfilled price sheet, you're going to want to make sure to add the corresponding items to the right category, right? So we're going to click into the prints category. And if you want to add more prints, you're going to go to products and you're going to click lab item. That's going to bring up all the other prints that you can add to this price sheet. You also can add a self-fulfilled item. Self-fulfilled items are items that, you know, you're not going to be sending to Bayphoto. You're going to be fulfilling them outside of this order through ShootProof. So, you know, if you have stuff that you go to another lab that we don't partner with or something like that, you would want to add it as a self-fulfilled item. Here we can see we have a bunch of stuff listed on here already. This is the lab costs. I'll point out that this one doesn't show a lab cost because it's a self-fulfilled item, so we aren't aware what the lab cost is. And then this is the markup price that you've added, and then you'll be able to see the profit on this individual item here. And you'll see right here, I have some red because actually I added this item after I created the price sheet and I did not change the markup price. So I can go ahead and make that. And then you'll see it updates right there. With the markup, you have the option to use this edit markup button. You can apply bulk markup to the entire price sheet. You can also do markup for individual groups, and you can do rounding. And that's as well as being able to just change the price, you know, on an item. So now that we have some items added in here, we can go back to the main page of our price sheet, and we're going to go to packages. So packages are pretty straightforward, but I am going to go ahead and show you that you can add a package. So we're going to give this one, I'm going to turn off my caps lock and give this one a name. This package price is the price that your client will pay for that package, and this package value is the summation of all of the items that have been added to it, their costs. So right here, I'm going to add, some 4x6s, some 5x7s, some 8x10s, and we said it was a deluxe, so let's give them a little canvas, and we can add some digitals. So you'll see here, this is what all of those items cost right now on your price sheet with this markup. But since this is a package and we want to give them kind of an incentive, we're going to go ahead and take this down to, nope, not down, not up, to 215. We have a webinar where we talk about, pricing these things out. I just threw out a random number, so I'm sorry, I don't know what the actual markup is for this right now. So then you'll see you have this new package available. This is very important. It's your shipping. So this is a shipping title that your client sees. We recommend doing this use lab shipping. What this is going to do is it's going to charge your client the same amount that the lab is going to charge you, so it just kind of neutrals out the shipping. You also have the option to allow clients to select a shipping speed at checkout. If you don't have this on, they're just going to see like the basic economy shipping, and that's their only option. But if you do have this on, then you'll see, overnight and expedited and all of that. You also can use your own shipping, but be warned that you're still going to get charged what the lab is charging for shipping. So if you're, charging a lower shipping amount, you'll need to make sure that you're accounting for that either in your markup of your goods or in some other place so that you don't take a loss on shipping. We also have this section for taxes, so you can give it a title, state taxes, whatever. This number is the percentage, so you don't need to use decimal points. If I want to charge 7% taxes, I put 7 right there. You can then choose which state you would like to charge these taxes in, or all of the provinces and states. And then for those of you outside of the US who use VAT, you can enter that here. And then last, we have this terms of sale. So if you have terms of sale verbiage that you like to share with your clients, you can add this here and it will show on their order as well as at checkout. And then up here, we do have discounts that you can add. I'm just going to show these to you really quickly. We're not going to add any because we have a whole webinar going over discounts. But we do have several different kinds of discounts that you can add to your price sheets. But please be aware that several of them are not compatible with packages. So if you already have packages that you want to use on your price sheets, make sure you're not including discounts that aren't compatible with them. So we'll go back. And now that we have our price sheet set up how we want it, we can assign it to a gallery. So you'll click Assign to Gallery. It's going to point out that I actually don't have a credit card processor on this in this demo account, but we'll just click Continue. And then you can see which ones have a price sheet attached to them already. You can change it. Remember also that there is that shopping cart tab in the gallery settings, so you can set price sheets through there, and you can also set price sheets through the bulk actions. So we're going to wrap up with talking about payment processing. So if you plan to sell through ShootProof, either through the galleries or you plan to use our invoicing feature for session fees, you will need to have a payment processor set up. This allows your clients to pay for their orders right there in their gallery and in their invoice, so it's super convenient. What payment processor is available to you depends on your location. So for those of you located in the US, we have ShootProof Pay, which is our integrated payment gateway with Stripe. And then for those of you outside of the US, we have Stripe for international studios. And I'll show you in my account over here that you can get your payment gateway set up. Over here, we're going to click our account button and we're going to do accept credit cards. And you're going to get this little pop-out window that's going to walk you through setting up whichever payment gateway is available to you. So ShootProof Pay is powered by Stripe and it is available to our US studios. It's a author credit card processing fee of 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction, which is the standard fee. The lab costs are going to be paid from your earnings. So they're going to be paid from what we collect from the client. All major credit cards are accepted, and if your clients have Apple Pay or Google Pay set up, they can also pay through that. You'll receive your profits within 2 to 5 business days after the transaction, and you do have the option to request instant funds up to a certain amount, right to a debit card. This is for a small fee, though. And we just have this nice little infographic that kind of breaks down exactly how it's going to go when you're using ShootProof Pay. So your client's going to place an order. We're going to let you know that you've received an order. You're going to go and review and approve the order, make sure the crops are good, there's nothing wrong with it, nothing needs to be changed out. Then you are going to submit that order to the lab, and when you submit that order to the lab is when that payment is going to happen. So that's when we're going to charge your client that $100. This is also when we'll take the processing fee, so in this case it's $320. And then this is also when we take the lab costs and give them to the lab. So we're going to take that $10 of lab costs and we're going to pay it to the lab. The funds will become available again within 2 to 5 days. And then you'll get your profits in your ShootProof Pay account. Now, self-fulfilled orders skip the lab costs, and they also are charged as soon as your client places their order. So this is the flow for if you're submitting to the lab. And then for Stripe for international studios, it'll be a little bit differently. The funds are going to be collected at checkout right as they process the order, and they're going to be sent to your payment processor, which in this case is Stripe. Then the lab costs will be charged to the card that you have on file with ShootProof. So let's review everything that we talked about today. Here's what you learned. We learned how to upload galleries through the web uploader and the desktop uploader. We talked about customizing your account with both your branding and setting up your gallery settings. We set up a profitable price sheet to sell prints and products and whatever else you'd like. And we enabled a payment processor so that you can easily accept client payments. So I know this is just a basic overview to get you started. I definitely encourage you to go to our help center or attend other webinars to learn more about our other features such as email campaigns, contracts, invoices, mobile apps, gallery tracking, all of that. We have them every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So this is our resource library. This is also in a PDF in the handout section, so you can download that. Again, our help center where we have all of our articles, tutorials, previous webinars. We have a ShootProof blog where photographers write about different topics for us. We have our ShootProof community where ShootProof users are in there talking about their ShootProof workflow, about photography stuff, everything. We have our amazing support team who are available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We also now have a concierge onboarding, so that's a one-on-one session with one of our ShootProof experts. And again, you can attend one of our weekly webinars. Now, I had said that, there would be a little surprise at the end. So here is a code. It's code Get Started. And this is for you to have 25% off of your first 6 months of ShootProof. So that's for a monthly plan. For those of you who are still in your trial, if you click subscribe, it'll bring you to a page like this. You can go ahead and add that information and apply that promo code. You'll still be able to finish out your trial. It's just that then once the trial is done, your card is on file and your promo code's there, so you'll get that discounted rate. And then if you are in a free plan right now, you would need to hit upgrade and you would have the same thing. Go ahead and put your card on file and add that code Get Started and apply right there for you to get that rate. So thank you so much for coming to our webinar today. I hope you learned a thing or two, and I hope to see you at a future webinar.